obviously not breakfast, but kitchen y'all should be used to by now, or used to at least having seen in the past. Point being, today I want to talk about carbs. Last week we talked about protein and my favorite sources and the reasons I use them. Well, there's another side of that coin, carbs. Arguably, it could be considered the most important side because it's the easiest one to screw up, that has arguably the most negative symptoms to screwing up. Like the negatives on that one significantly outweigh the negatives of like overdoing protein, right? So anyways, carbs and why. Now, right off the bat, just some things. Rice is a fast digesting protein, or a fast digesting carb. Excuse me, it is a fast digesting carb. For some people, like myself, if I overdo it, I bloat horrendously, okay, and it doesn't work so fast, right? It gets really bad for me. So I eat rice in controlled amounts while paying attention to other aspects of my diet. So as long as everything's in check, I'm usually okay. But I can see why some people frequently will pop up and say, hey, rice is not a fast digesting carbohydrate for me. So just things we have to pay attention to. What's up, buddy? Sorry, guys, Achilles came to visit. He's off streaming right now. But hey, so bringing us to rice. I suck at cooking for the most part, and I cannot cook rice. So I go with the, I'm going to mess this up. I go with the mahatama. Now, why I go with these? One, there was a point in time where every single meal I consumed, this entire bag was one meal for me, right? And that just worked out. That is the case on normal carb days, not low carb days, which today is a low carb day. When it comes to my first meal of the day, this is considered one serving. Let it be the cilantro and lemon, or however you want to say that, cilantro and lime, lemon. They're honestly the same. So the cilantro and lime's got less calories overall, but it's got a bit more sodium in it. But a bit more, I mean, a whole bag here, this is the white jasmine, it's got 350 milligrams, and then a whole bag here has got 480. So depending on what you're doing, not that bad of a difference. You can usually balance that out. Cooking your rice obviously would be best, but for me, it's not really an option. It's not something I'm good at. And quite frankly, I don't want to take time to get good at it. Also, what I like about these is 90 seconds in, we're done. These, some of y'all are going to judge me on this. You can take this rice after you've cooked it in the microwave, dump half the bag out, fold it up, put it in your fridge. When you're ready for the other half, warm it up for 30 to 45 seconds, and it's ready to go, and you can't taste the difference. Okay, also, cilantro and lime, okay, with rotisserie chicken. It's not the greatest meal in the world, but I call that my cheap travel meal because there's not many, like I'm always close to a Walmart or somewhere I can go get a $5 to $8 rotisserie chicken, and these things are $1.68 for a bag. Get some cheap Tupperware, stay in your room and eat like a room in, or a meal in the room. Eat a room, right? That'd be great. Eat a meal in the room once or twice a day while you're on vacation. You're going to save anywhere from 50 to 100 bucks depending on who's eating a day. So just nifty idea why I like these so much. Also, fast-acting carbs. They're friendly with my gut. They get in, they get out. Popcorners. These are, thank you, Nathan Payton, very much for turning me on to these years ago. They have never left my life. They sell these at Walmart. Most airports have them. Most grocery stores have them. Every now and then you see them in gas stations. So multiple flavors. It is just a corn, not flour. I know corn flour, same thing, but something can be corn-based, something can be flour-based, i.e. the corn tortilla versus the flour tortilla. I admit the flour tortilla, far superior when it comes to overall needs and pleasure in consumption. However, nutritionally speaking, the corn tortilla cannot be challenged. Therefore, moving on, corn-based chips. Now, they do kind of almost feel stale, which is kind of cool because they don't taste any different when they go stale. And I usually have my bag clumped off a little better than this, so I wanted to actually show you what it says. They are a little on the pricey side, but I can eat 17 chips and it's only 19 grams of carbs. And there's actually 2 grams of protein per serving, so you're kind of slipping in some auxiliary protein with this. But this is solid. Toss this with a protein shake and 30 chips. Also, being able to eat 30 of these, or even 20 or 17 of them, that's a decent amount. It's not a whole bag, but it's definitely enough to kind of hit your stomach and be like, okay, there's something there. Great for a snack, and again, fast-acting carbs. Okay, moving over to egg noodles. Size doesn't matter. These are wide and they make extra wide and small. Egg-based noodles versus, I guess we'll call them like meat-based noodles, because traditionally, I want bugs getting in my stuff, guys, sorry. Traditionally speaking, pasta is just water and wheat and maybe butter, I think, if I'm correct. Could be wrong. For whatever reason, my body processes the egg noodle drastically better. And when it comes to macronutrients, there's not a whole lot different between the two. Actually, in some areas, the standard pasta kind of wins. However, for whatever reason, in my belly personally, I find that the egg noodles process faster. They also don't expand as much or hold as much water in my stomach. That's pretty cool, so I can like eat more and it's not taking up as much space, which leaves more room for my higher protein days. And back when I was consuming 16 ounces of protein every meal, which most days I still am, that means a lot, not having the necessary space there. And again, if somebody's going to get in, it's going to get out quickly. You should note they cook pretty quick, and if you overcook these, they're going to get really mushy to an extreme. So not very good in that sense, but it's an easy switch. There's also the micronutrient value. Egg noodles come, and again, I understand depending on who you are, you're arguing minimal amounts of micronutrients here, but egg noodles come with selenium, manganese, iron, and one or two other things I can't remember off the top of my head that are major bonuses in proper consumption, especially for athletes. So little things to look into. That's why I stick with my egg noodles or my egg-based noodles. Then that brings us to bread. Okay, guys, we're talking about American bread. We're not talking about bread from the UK, Australia, Germany, anywhere. We're not talking about bread from anywhere else except for right here, okay? And bread in America, especially if it's like commercially processed bread, you're gonna get at Walmart. Like I get this stuff. This is the Walmart bread and sourdough. We'll talk about this in a second. But most places, American commercially produced bread qualifies as cake or pastry in other countries by macronutrient and sugar load, right? So bread in particular is where a lot of people miss. Oh, it's protein bread. It's whole wheat. And I'm not saying sourdough is your only option, but I'm saying I think it's the best option because even I will call Walmart Great Value sourdough. It's cheap. I use it. It's the only sourdough I get because I eat a lot of it and things are expensive and I make choices, right? Is this the best sourdough you're going to get? Probably not, no. But the fact that it's only got 1 gram of sugar in it, there's not a whole lot of extra in there. It's also got 4 grams of protein per slice. So, and it's a solid 28 grams of carbs. For all these primarily it being so sugar low, that's the big one for me. My body processes bread okay. Sourdough I do really well with, but I appreciate the lack of sugar in there because insulin sensitivity is very important for somebody who diets and eats like I do. Hence why this is a low carb day and I rely on fast acting carbs because I want the carbs to get in and do the job. I want them to exit. That's why I don't mind eating so frequently because everything I'm eating isn't hanging around very long. It's not sticking with me. So I lean heavily on sourdough because I can sneak in anywhere from an extra, like I said, 4 grams per slice. If I'm, on a night I'm making like chicken burgers, I can sneak an extra 20 grams of protein and not add any more carbs or fats to my meal. That's pretty solid. For me, that brings up that chicken burger meal to, we're over 100 grams of protein at that meal. No, excuse me, we are at 100 grams of protein. If I had shrimp, we bump up into like the 130 or 140 range. So that's just a super easy additive. That's not really adding anything extra to the meal other than a little bit of protein. Now, I understand those meal sizes are exorbitant for most people. However, if you're trying to not be most people, or if you are most people, and you're looking for something quick and easy on your break, make yourself some ground chicken burgers, mix them how you want, add a little beef tallow, cook up your bread, season it, a little bit of beef tallow for butter instead of butter, make yourself some garlic bread and make your burgers. And it's a real sweet way to stick to your macros, get some decent micros without irritating the stomach. It's also a decent travel meal. So, boom. Now, the last one I want to talk about. Oh, these Nerds Gummy Clusters. These things are absolute magic. So, I've actually kind of developed a little bit of an addiction to these. I don't eat them unless I'm training or if I am out hiking with my daughter and I'm like, oh, okay, sugar's getting a little low. I'll pop some of these because they actually come with 21 grams of sugar per serving and then 24 grams of carbs per serving, right? And there's not much else in there. And there's 5 servings in a bag. So if I'm doing what I need to be doing, I can, again, eating so sugar consciously sometimes has worked in my disadvantage because I'll go sugar low and not even notice it until I'm too far down the rabbit hole. I have to stop, replenish, and then you lose momentum of day and the momentum of training. So that's just something I do unintentionally to myself. Having something like this, which the sugar hits quickly, I don't have to fight to chew it. That's the best part. But there is a little bit of stick, I'll say. Like there's some stomach satiation there. I don't feel like it disappears very quickly, which is why I like it for in the middle of training if I start getting hungry. Because for me, if it's the middle of training and I start getting hungry and feeling hunger, that is a sugar and salt low indicator for me usually. Don't know why, it's just what my body does, but I've picked up on that over the years. These, however, taste absolutely amazing. And it's funny, Because before I took control of my carbs, and I mean before I really took control of my carbs, before I really took control of my sugar, shout out Nathan Payton, my dude. The years I spent with you as an athlete, I was a student as well. Thank you so much. Again, done graveling over. He's a pretty cool guy. Go check him out. But no, these, I've realized I've developed a taste for sugary things, which I've never had before. And that was something that really didn't come around until I took control of my sugar intake, and then took control of my carbohydrate intake, and then realized how much extra sugar my carb choices were sneaking into my diet. So, guys, these are the only carbs that I consume. I say the only carbs. Give me 95 to 96% of the time, these are the only carbohydrates I will consume. Now, certain situations, yeah, if I go out and eat a cheat meal, or if I just want, like I had French toast this past weekend, it was absolutely amazing. It wasn't sourdough French toast either, and maybe, let me think on that one. That might work, hold on, let me think on that one. But point being, these are my carbs, I stick to them, they treat my stomach well. Very basic common sense here. I have a multitude of options. Anything I have rice with, I can have pasta with. Anything I have, sourdough bread, so I have garlic bread. I can do really anything I want with that based on how I want to season it. Also, if you need a break from bread, Eggo home-style waffles. Check them out. It has to be Eggo, it has to be home-style. Check those out. Anything you can do with bread, you can reasonably do with those. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks, end rant. Sweet. Oh, one final mention. Wow, almost forgot one of the most important ones. Corn nuts. I don't have any with me right now because I don't bring them home. That's a travel thing. If you are ever in a gas station and you're looking for, if you realistically, there's roughly 80 or 88 grams of carbohydrates in one bag of corn nuts at $3.65 a bag. Depending on the individual, that's 2 meals worth of carbs. Not a great option, but some corn nuts in a protein shake, solid post-workout, doesn't take up a lot of spot. You have sweet and salty, and then corn nuts, they have a couple different flavors. I prefer the Fiesta flavor, or the Mexican street corn flavor. It's a nice flavor kind of switch, so if you're drinking a protein shake, you get sick of it, munch on something salty. So don't have any corn nuts with me, but those are also a secret weapon of mine. Alright guys, hope you learned something. Stay tuned. As I promised, carbs came this week. I don't know what's coming next week. I gotta figure that part out. But if there's something you really want to see a video on, drop it in the comments. Anything fitness related. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, enjoy your day.